guys need to make this bread is some liquid egg whites. You need 1 1/3 cups of liquid egg whites and 3/4 of a cup of water. You're just gonna put the egg whites in the blender to start and blend that for 30 seconds. And then you will add your water and your bread mix to the blender and then blend that for another like 15 seconds and then you're good to go. You can pour it in your bread pan. But one of the parts of the instructions that's really important is this right here. You guys are gonna spray your bread pan and then use your fingers to kind of like wipe all that spray onto the bread pan. That's not usually a step that I do, so I'm glad that I did it on this because it made it getting out of that pan a whole lot more simple. So you guys will see that in a little bit as well. But something else that I had to do that I didn't realize, and I'm glad that I read the very bottom of the instructions, which if you guys are like me and you're in a hurry and you're trying to do things quick, because I don't know, y'all, I multitask way too much, okay? But the third and final step to finishing your bread before you put it in the oven, after you put it in this pan, you're gonna smooth it all out, get it even in the pan, which was a greater task than I thought it would be, only because it was a lot thicker than I expected the batter to be. So it was even a little bit more to get out than I thought. I had to like scrape down all the things. But the very last part is this one right here. You guys are gonna wanna make sure that you do this because there's something about it. It's really important. I don't exactly know what, but you're gonna score an X across your bread somehow. I just used a butter knife to do mine, and I probably did it about a 1/2 inch or maybe even a little less than a 1/2 inch thick, and it worked out really well. So I'm glad that I read that part of the instructions. This is the first time I'm ever making bread, you guys, so I'm really excited to see how it comes out. Now I have to wait an hour to pull it out of the oven, let it cool. The process to make this is really simple, but it does take time. It's lengthy. So you have to like prepare to know that you're gonna be home for an entire afternoon, or you're gonna do this in an entire evening for sure. So you guys definitely wanna prepare ahead for that, and that's why I hadn't made it until now. Like, cause if you guys watched my video where I went to the Nashville Trim Healthy Mama Cafe and got this no bake easy bread, that was like a month ago almost now. Yeah, close to a month ago now. And I'm just now making it because I had to plan to know that I was gonna be home for the afternoons. But I love the no carb bread option. But if you're like me, you need things really simple, like even more simple than the no bake easy bread, which is really great, a really great option compared to like starting from scratch and trying to do this all on your own. But if you guys are looking for a low carb, quick option for like wraps and stuff like that, you can do enchiladas or wraps or like egg burritos, stuff like that. I love these Extreme Wellness by Olay wraps. There's 4 grams of net carbs per each one, and they're keto friendly and only 50 calories per tortilla. So I've been using these things for a long time, and they're kind of been my go-to for simplicity's sake. But I really did want to try to actually create a loaf of bread using easy bread, because apparently in the Trim Healthy Mama community, this stuff is like hard to get a hold of and hard to keep in stock. So there's lots of different options you can use on the Trim Healthy Mama plan for low carb or no carb type of breads. But this one is definitely the easiest one I have found in my short journey with Trim Healthy Mama so far. So if you guys know of anything else, let me know in the comment section. That would be so helpful, not just to me, but maybe to somebody else who might be looking as well. But this one is seriously just adding the egg whites that you saw, the water that you saw. I think that there is some particulars about how fast you blend or what kind of blender you use, if you have a Vitamix or a regular blender or whatever. But I think that all of that is on the Trim Healthy Mama community on Facebook. You guys can get in there and ask questions from all of the veteran Trim Healthy Mamas that have been doing this for a really long time, because they know that there's these little secrets to making sure that the bread comes out the best that it possibly can. But I'm doing this without reading any of those. I'm just following the basic instructions on the back of the package and seeing how it works out, because I really didn't have time to go through and check all those things out. But my friend and I that are doing this together, she was just sharing with me like, make sure that you check it out. I'm like, oh, I don't have time for that. Hopefully this comes out really well though. And I'm going to be showing you guys whether it does or not here in just a little bit. But I think for storage, the package tells you that you can leave it on the counter for the first 24 hours after you cut your slices. And then after the first 24 hours, you just want to keep it wrapped in paper towel in your refrigerator. So the first 24 hours you leave it on your counter wrapped in paper towels, and as you're using it, and then after that keep it wrapped in paper towels and plastic wrap in your refrigerator. Those were the only like extra instructions that I read on the back of the package. Otherwise I followed it exactly to the T. If you guys want to try the no bake easy bread from Trim Healthy Mama, make sure you check the link in the description and it'll take you straight to the Trim Healthy Mama online store where you can go browse other products as well and try this if it's in stock. Like, I hope that it's in stock, because you guys, it's like seriously hit or miss. So also, if you're interested in getting a membership to be part of Trim Healthy Mama's discount club, you guys can definitely grab that. It's all in that same link. You guys will definitely want to make sure you check out that so you can save some money on the products. I think you save 10% as a Trim Healthy Mama member, and that's what I do. I am able to save 10% on all of my products, and it's really helpful if you're definitely going to be using the products all the time like I am. But for now, that's about it. I'm just gonna go get some work done and wait for this bread to bake and come back and check it in about an hour. You know, ladies, sometimes the hardest work we do can be the work that nobody sees, the work that you guys aren't seeing on YouTube, the work that nobody knows about and reads on the internet, my blogs, things like that. The hardest work sometimes is done in private and in prayer. And one of those areas that I spend a lot of time in privately in prayer is for my children. So I want to recommend a book to you. It's called Praying Circles Around Your Children by Mark Batterson. And he says you'll never be a perfect parent, but you can be a praying parent. So we have so much pressure on us as moms to kind of have it all figured out. Like, I work from home, I run a business, I have children. I have one in college and two at home, and the middle child is in the 9th grade and the youngest one is 3 years old. So I have quite like an array of things I have to be thinking of. There's different seasons I'm in, but all at the same time. So it makes it a little hard. But nothing is as hard as the things that I've been through in the past with my 2 older children. And I wanted to share with you guys about filling yourself up and praying for your children in a episode that I'm going to be sharing with you guys soon about co-parenting God's way and how you can handle co-parenting in a healthy way. And I'm really excited to share that with you guys because life gets messy. Like, look in my backyard. That's what's the most important thing to me. It's my children. So the mess and all is totally great. Like, life is messy and it's okay. So I'm really looking forward to my interview with Britt Top, who wrote a book about finding peace on your journey. So I hope you guys will join me for that soon. So I don't know if it's just supposed to be this crunchy on the top or if I overcooked it, but I'm supposed to let it cool off for a minute in this pan and then get it out of the pan and leave it on this wire rack to cool. So that's what I'm gonna do next. Alright, so there it is, all out of the pan. I'm not very coordinated in the kitchen, so you guys just have to excuse me for however I got it out. You just get it out the best that you can. So now that it's out of the oven, I got it out of the pan. Now it's gonna sit out on a cooling rack to cool for about 30 minutes. So far this whole process already has taken me an hour and a half because it took me about 30 minutes to gather all the stuff that I needed, prepare it, put it in the blender, then to clean up all my supplies from the blender, and then the hour to let it cook. And now we're gonna wait 30 more minutes for it to cool on the rack before I can even cut it. So again, that's why I said, you guys need an entire, like, know that you're gonna be home for an afternoon to be able to do this and do other things around it, obviously, but you need to be home, you know, to do this. So me and my 3-year-old are gonna go for a walk, and then when we come back, we're gonna cut this bread and see if it's actually good and decide if I did or didn't ruin it, because it's a little crunchy, so we'll see. Okay, so as I'm getting into cutting this down just a little bit more, I want to show you guys the inside of this bread. So you can see that there's some holes up there towards the top, but that generally there's not a lot of them, just on the sides there up at the top. And the slices are coming out looking pretty good, and they're fairly easy to cut. The inside is really soft and moist, which is great, and it's just barely a little crispy around the edge of the top and the edges of the bottom, so the crust is really great. But something I just want to mention about these holes, or something on the back of the package talks about if you feel like you have too many holes or the rise is too much, that maybe you need to beat the mixture at a lower speed. So if this is something you guys are experiencing with your Vitamix, that's something that is addressed in the Facebook groups, on the Trim Healthy Mama Facebook groups that you guys can be a part of. They're free. You can just join them and then glean from everybody else's experience as well. So all in all, I think it's great. My 3-year-old has approved, and I think this is going to be great sandwich bread for me for the week. And then I think half of this loaf will probably be devoured by my 14-year-old daughter, and it won't last very long. It's definitely not something I'm going to do very often, just because it's kind of too much for me to do when I don't really need bread all that much. So like having bread isn't that important to me. Having those wraps that I showed you guys earlier helps me with that. So there we go though. Ultimately, I'm really pleased with the way this easy no bake bread came out. It is easy. It's just time consuming. So just know that up front. But I've never baked bread before, and this was my first time. So I'm pretty pleased with it. And I hope you guys will try it and let me know what you think of it as well.